Hi guys, welcome back for another one. I am Mr. Free to Play. That is right, I'm a free to play player and I give free to play player advice, tips, tricks, and other things. Today I am here with day 700 roster review with my alliance leader Nico. He is here to give me a lot of flack about some of the stuff that I do. So guys, hello?
Maddie, what was that? You said that was going to be in your video, but you use the pizza clip. That was completely out of context. Hey, you got a roster review coming up? I think I'd like to say a few things about you to your viewers.
Sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Alright guys, before we jump into this roster review, make sure you guys know that this is in fact day 700. We're going to go to my achievements here. And you can see right here, log in for 720 day achievement is at day 700. And if you guys are curious of currently where I'm at stat wise, I currently reign in at this 5.6 million total collection power. My strongest team, total characters collected, pretty much all of them except for Doc Ock and the newest ones. Characters collected at max rank, I have over half my roster at max star rank. And the lowest I've ever been in Arena is 13. I'm currently sitting at 69. Arena's gotten a lot harder these recent days. A lot more people are getting invested in Blackwater, making it a little harder to stay competitive. But that's pretty much where my stats are and where I currently sit at day 700. Okay guys, after 700 days of playing 100% free to play, this is where my roster stands today. And Nico, my alliance leader, is going to go through, review the good, the bad, the ugly. And we're going to start this one off by reviewing the favorites. So before we begin, Nico, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah. Why haven't you maxed out Captain Marvel yet?
What do you mean? Level 71? That's like at least, what, 41 levels? She was better at the last time you saw her?
No, but you had this one video where you were like, oh, I promised my alliance leader I'd max him out. And I got pretty excited. And 71, 58K?
She got power
creep. 5
creeped.
red on her.
Yeah, 5 red. Actually,
defense.
I regret putting 5 red on her, to be honest. But then I ended up pulling 5 red for her after I manually promoted her. Let me start explaining what I'm currently working on here. So some of these characters are characters that I'm currently farming them, and some of these characters are ones that are actively getting built. Now, characters that I'm actively farming. First, I always start with the Heroes and Villains campaign every day for daily objectives. And that would be Colossus and Ironheart. Now, Colossus mainly because I use him in multiple game modes, especially Dark Dimension 3, which I'm currently going through on my 3rd run. Ironheart is, when I took all the characters that are actually farmable in the game, she is the one that I'm the furthest behind on star level. So I figured that I'll throw her in there and try to see if I can get more stars on her. Now, I only spend the 60 energy on both just to get the daily objective done. I don't spend any more than that. The other characters that I farm every day that I do spend the max amount of energy on, Negasonic for various reasons, including a legendary. Captain Marvel, just because they made her farmable and such, doesn't cost that much to farm her, which I have a feeling she'll go to 100 node farm after this. Captain America, same reason, they made him a 60 core farm or 60 energy farm. And I'm just trying to complete him because I use him in game modes like War and stuff. Another character I farm, Cable, obviously Doc Ock, and then Winter Soldier and Storm, just basically because they are close to hitting the max star level and they're not in orbs like Mega Orbs. So when I look to max out a character 7 stars that I don't need for any other content, I start looking at Mega Orbs, or if they're in a Mega Orb, I may not want to max them out quite yet because I could still draw them out of Mega Orb. Those 2 characters, not going to happen. And then Call and Corvus are obviously 2 characters currently getting built up because the only content that I'm stuck on right now is the last 3 nodes of Doom War Chapter 2.
Yeah, they're doozies.
Yeah.
BO.
I'm glad I finally have a real reason to build these 2, as I don't have the tunes. I don't have 5 tunes built up for those classifications on those last 3 nodes. So I'm happy I finally get to build them, and 2, I'm happy that it's also going to help me clear content at the same time. And it's just, I'm very close in this game to not having to worry about clearing content anymore after 700 days in.
Yeah, the last 3 nodes, I figured that the game developers designed that specifically with you in mind.
It probably did.
Because Hydra, BO, power armor, I was like, oh dear God. I'm guessing you have no plans for your Winter Soldier?
Currently, no, but that could always change. Like I said, I'm so close to clearing all the content in the game, and after that, obviously the only content in the game I need to worry about is Arena and War. So Baron Zemo is going to be a big question mark, and it's going to be a matter of when does Baron Zemo become farmable? Because if he becomes farmable sometime new while he's still relevant, it's going to make that team very attractive to me, just for the simple fact that I know Baron Zemo can be used for so much more content than just war.
That's the thing with Baron Zemo, that he takes out Hydra really well. And one of the problems that you know better than I do in our alliance, that we come across a 250k Hydra team and nobody wants to punch down with their 400k Inhumans.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't take much to build up a 200k Zemo team. All right, I think I use Yondu and Kingpin on mine, and yeah, I can punch up 30k on a Hydra team, no problem. Yeah, just something to think about. Minimal investment.
Yeah, like I said, after I'm done with this Black Order, it's the game's wide open for me. So you can definitely help point me in what direction you feels best for me by the time we're done.
Sounds good.
All right, next 10. These are obviously the cream of the crop on my roster.
Did you pull all those red stars, or were those promotion credits?
Black Bolt, promotion credits through Spider-Man, Phoenix, Hela. Those 4 were all promotional credits. Emma was promotion credits. Minerva, I did put an extra star on her because she was going down too easy. She was getting a little squishy. So I put another star on her. But Venom, Carnage, Shuri, and Ebony Maw are all natural pulls. And obviously they're not that great.
You must have a 6-star Minerva?
Yeah, I'm getting close. Last orb opening, I got screwed. If anyone saw that miserable orb opening.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
my heart died.
So, very close from Minerva. Unfortunately, premium orbs are so much harder to get nowadays. They've really scaled them back, replaced them with ISOs in the calendar. And a side note, they got to do something with Minerva and Yo-Yo, since they've made it even harder for us to even get possible chances at getting them pulled.
Are you using those symbiotes on your raid team?
Yes, I actually have 2 raid teams now for U7. So my first raid team, I run the 4 symbiotes. You can't see Scream yet, but she's up here. I'll find Scream right now since I'm talking about her. Down right there. So you Scream, I'll get up here. She's 5 gold, 5 red, 71, tier 12. So I run the 4 symbiotes with Emma Frost in my first team. And I actually start with that team. So I get them as far as they can go. Usually they work the whole way up to Ronin's node. And then at Ronin's node, it's hit or miss sometimes. I run the middle lane. So what will happen is in the Ronin node, once the characters start going down, sometimes I see Scream get one-shotted in that node by Karath. So once I start seeing them go down, if Emma Frost is still at full health, I will quit the match, go out, and then make a team of Ebony Maw, Minerva, Emma Frost, Black Bolt, and Hela. I use Hela as symbiote Spider-Man. So I'll run those 5. Now, if Emma goes down a part of the symbiote team, I usually replace her with Thanos. And then if I run into a rough patch where either Black Bolt or Hela go down, I just quit the match and then start it again with symbiote Spider-Man taking their place. So, and I can fairly wiggle my way too if I need to up to Ultimates on difficulty 3.
Oh, that's good. I just use Phoenix on Ronin.
Yeah, I've tried
Phoenix. A lot easier.
Who do you run with Phoenix?
Symbiote Spider-Man, Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, and I think Minerva.
Okay. Yeah, I have a hard time. Sometimes what happens with Phoenix is that they don't knock her down, so she's still just regular Phoenix, and then other characters start falling before she even flips. And that I usually run into that problem a lot. I don't know if you run into that problem, but that's a problem I run into sometimes.
No, she usually goes down in 1 or 2 hits, right?
My Phoenix must be able to tank something, because I tell you what, I just have a problem with her not going down. It drives me nuts.
But yeah, I would recommend you at least get your raid team to ISO 3.
Okay.
Maybe even 4, but I know you're kind of hoarding that for now, right? I understand why, but
yeah,
even that 10% help make a big difference on those guys.
Okay. This is where things might start getting a little interesting.
Yeah, I like to think I'm your biggest fan, but I must have missed that 7R Nick Fury.
Yes. Unfortunately, I never got to pull him on camera. This happened while personal note, this happened while I was away, while my daughter was in the hospital, and I was staying in the hospital with her, and which character came out? One of the characters came out, and I have it, and I try to at least get the new characters at 4 red, every new character 4 red, so it saves me from having to use promotion credits on characters in the future, and the only ones I have to really use my silver promotion credits on or get them to 5 if there actually are really good characters or older characters that really need that boost that unfortunately because of their older characters and they're just a random draw, you just never get them. And during while I was going for that one character while I was just in the hospital, I pulled an Elite 5 orb and Nick Fury popped out.
It pains me, right? Being an old player,
Yeah.
be like head over heels in love with that, but
Yeah.
doesn't really do much these days. Just gather dust. It would actually make a pretty good war defense team, right? Because again, you wouldn't have to put you could leave them right there as it is, and
Yeah.
I guess people are using X-Men to take that guy down, right?
Yeah, we should probably look it up next war. I don't think it's very rare I look myself up of what they're using to beat me. Every once in a while I'll look it up, but I don't do it every war. Actually, I don't do it for most wars, to tell you the truth. So it would be interesting to see what they're using to clear my shield team. That'd be something to look into.
So I'm guessing Vulture was for Dark Dimension 3?
Yes, and if I have one word to you guys out there watching this, do not build Vulture. He is super squishy. He's just fodder for the symbiotes. That's all he is at this point. Like him and Punisher, you guys can see in the next line, they're just fodder. That's all they are.
Well, yeah, you remember that before the content creators were all telling you get in as quick as you can. These people take minimal investment, and we didn't have a full symbiote team, right? So Vulture didn't seem like a bad choice at the time. Neither was Punisher.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, neither one of these characters are probably going to make it. And along with Shield Trooper, who you guys also see on the screen, those three are not going to get any more investment from me. They're not going to go. They're going to sit where they're at, and I'm going to find 3 new characters to replace those 3.
All right, and Proxima Midnight, same thing. You brought her for Dark Dimension 3?
Yes, brought her for Dark Dimension 3, and I actually like this character as a Dark Dimension 3. And I know there's some mixed feelings out there, but personally, I really do like her. I put her as a striker. Her extra tap allows her to remove buffs on the opponents, along with her basic allows her to remove buffs. So if you get characters with defense up or any other, or taunt or anything other annoyance, she can clear it. Special applies offense down to multiple characters. It helps your characters from getting one-shotted. And then her alt can stun somebody. So usually what I do in Dark Dimension 3 is I find the person who's up next, because sometimes they do a lot of damage. Find the person who's next, stun them, so I know I get a little bit more time with the characters that I'm using. And if it's a double tap, she removes the buff.
Yeah, I got a 5R as well. I might do that. But yeah, I think this lane kind of speaks for itself, right? I see remnants of the BKT and Scientist Supreme that
signs of the past
for raids.
Yeah.
The Crystal, that was for a challenge, right?
Yes, Catalyst of Change challenge. At the time you guys are seeing this video, that video is not going to be out yet, but it will be out shortly, and you guys can probably see the progression that I had to make to clear that challenge. I did post in my Discord earlier today that there's over 2 hours of footage of me trying to clear the Catalyst of Change challenge. I finally did yesterday as of recording this. And so you guys are going to see a deep dive into my madness when it comes to trying to clear content.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I'm glad you finally built up your Falcon in 200 days after I suggested you to?
You're almost correct.
Challenge as well?
You're almost correct on that number, 200 days. Probably 150 more like it. But yes, it was for challenges.
Korath, was that for a challenge as well?
That was for a challenge. That was for a tier 12 or the tier 10 Catalyst of Change challenge, because a lot of data showed that if you could apply slow on Thanos in that challenge, that's how you ultimately can clear it easily. But do not build Korath. I do not recommend building Korath. Crystal can take his spot somewhat to the same level of a job that he does. Crystal can do also. In hindsight 2020, seeing the future now, I would have never built him.
Shield security. If I didn't know better, I think you're a secret shield guy, right? You have a lot of red stars for your shield team, and I've heard you not recommend them to people, right? So that's kind of a slap on the face to you.
Yeah, because shield, they're probably 2019. You can see a lot of them are, I think pretty much all of them, you won't see them past level 70, because obviously I stopped building them at level 70, and by the time level 75 came around, they were no longer really a top team. 2019, they were pretty much the preferred team for everything. But like I said, once we hit that level 75 increase last year, or earlier this year, I keep forgetting the timeline. Some people say it was February. But yeah, that's why you'll never see them past level 70s, because by the time we had the level increase to level 75, they were no longer a top team, nowhere really needed. So I think they were one of the second teams I built up after the Defenders. So you can take that as is.
What about that Mordo there? Did you build him up for the Mystics campaign?
No, I did not build him up for the Mystics campaign. He was a pure 6 red star draw. I definitely did not put that on him. He was used for before the tier 14s came out, and obviously some more meta characters came out. He was one of the recommended characters for challenges, because if you compare him to the rest of them as Supernatural, you're going to see a lopsided, which, guys, if you're watching, there's going to be a second part to this video that's going to go over my teams, and you're probably going to see the lopsidedness when we go there. So yeah, he is kind of built outside the Supernatural, and I do have issues with Supernatural because of it.
Yeah, you got 6 Rs on him, man. Good thing about Supernatural is that I don't feel guilty using them on bigger but not meta teams.
Yeah.
Right? So you come across like a big BKT, you can punch up 100k on it, and with 6R, you're always going to land those stuns and those blinds. So
yeah.
Again, I get what you were saying earlier, right? But it's something to consider for later.
Yes. And especially if Supernatural gets some new members and a rework.
Yeah, I heard about a vampire. Rumors. Oh, and you got your Avengers. I guess that was for the Doom campaign?
Yes, the Doom campaign. I collected a lot of data on the Doom campaign because a lot of these campaigns, like, there's just something that this company does, and they do it very, very well, and at least recently they've done it very well, is they look at characters, like all the characters they have, and they say, okay, which characters are not needed anywhere? And they come up with those characters, and then they put them somewhere where if you're someone like me, you now have to invest in these characters to clear this content. And they're getting better at it. Like almost every character in this game is having a spot where they are useful in this game. So props to them for figuring that out. But two, it's super annoying to someone like me who tries to be efficient with resources. So yes, they did get props and boost to clear the Doom War, especially the Negasonic node, because I didn't really care about 3-starring all the nodes. I just cared about 3-starring the character farms that I needed.
Yeah, they're particularly vicious with that, because if you remember back in the day, everybody was building up Avengers, and then they weren't even a full team, right? And so now I guess they waited to have a bunch of new players so they could give them the rework, else they're just giving everybody a free team. So now there's so many players that were told, don't invest in Avengers, they're useless.
Yeah.
They give them the rework, right? Now people have to invest in the Avengers.
Yeah, and actually the cool thing with Avengers, especially when I'm looking at people that are reached out to me for roster reviews, is that they actually become the favorite first team to build in the game now over Defenders.
Oh.
Because they're all...
I mean, who wants the Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty much available early now. They give you Thor during the beginning of the game as long as you're playing and collecting the calendar every day. And Black Widow currently is farmable in node 1-9 in Villains, so she's access to her super early.
Oh, I like your Deadpool.
Oh, he's hitting by my face.
Aside from Negasonic, I didn't really see the rest of your X-Force.
No, they are like you're gonna see them here in a little bit, little bit. But they were one that I started to invest in, and then something else popped up, so stopped. Went to this thing, So they do have a little bit of love. You're gonna see them not at the bottom, but yes, it is still a little bit lopsided. Deadpool just this week was added a few more levels to. The 3 middle nodes in the new Doom War chapter I was having, or was it first 3 nodes that required mercs. The characters I had were not built up strong enough to clear the 3rd node. And so I simply invested more in Deadpool, switched out for Okoye, and I cleared it 3 stars, no problem after I switched out Okoye for Deadpool.
Yeah, Okoye doesn't do much.
No. I thought she was useful clearing buffs, but after seeing the results with Deadpool and not that much CP difference, it apparently wasn't that important.
Your Wakandans all look about the same strength.
Yeah, except for Shuri. Yes, they are. Yeah, they for Chaos Theory is what I mainly built them up for, and this was kind of when I first was collecting data on Chaos Theory. This seemed to be level 64, seemed to be the magic number to clear the highest tier, and so I built them level 64 and stopped.
All right, yeah, that looks good to me. Oh, Nobu, oh, kill.
I just want to say, Nobu didn't have 5 red when I first built him.
Yeah, I can see you by that weird number there. You tried to avoid putting as much as you could in there.
Yeah, I think he's done even. Yeah, because I could put more tiers on him too if I wanted to. So he wasn't that strong that long ago. I think I pulled a 5 red for him last video, and he went from 3 to 5 like that.
I am so jealous of your Juggernaut. Everyone on my Brotherhood's like 5R except for him.
Oh, yeah, that's like Toad. If I would build Brotherhood 2.0, that's like Toad and Sabretooth. Sabretooth's only 3 red also.
Oh, I just realized I haven't seen them yet. Oh,
You're doing the Apollo thing again. Now I'm realizing who I haven't seen yet.
oh, okay. I guess the shocker was given to you by Scopely as a slap on the face because you don't actually run him with Sinister Six.
You know what? The thing about Shocker though, they give us the 5 red on him, but I still run the traditional Sinister Six because I don't have Doc Ock yet, and he was only 2 red for me. He was the weakest link of that bunch. That 5 red in that calendar was so valuable to me because he was only at 2 red that it actually was nice getting him the boost, and I think he's bigger than all the other ones now because I had to build him up to keep his level current with everyone else, and then when he got the 5 red, it just boosted him past everybody.
And as soon as you get Doc Ock, you're not gonna bring Shocker.
Yeah.
You summon Shocker.
Yeah, especially if you're going to max out Doc
And
Ock.
Rhino. Oh, I'm jealous of that Rhino too.
Yeah, he's the first blue character you see on my screen. Yeah, he's a powerhouse. I really like Rhino. I mean,
He's got a lot of health.
Yeah, I like. Overall, I love Sinister Six. Like, I love when I see a Defender team in war that's 100k more than my Sinister Six because I know my Sinister Six can take it out. I love that matchup.
Oh, your Scarlet Witch is breaking my heart.
Good or bad?
I don't even have him at 7-star.
Oh no, she is not. Just no orb luck with her. She hasn't got to the farm level yet for me. Because like when I choose the farm characters that are no longer in mega orbs, I start looking at, okay, who's the closest to being done, and then that's the character I pick. So like Storm and Winter Soldier right now are the two that are the closest to being 7 stars. So once one of them's done, then I go back and look at all the characters, who's the closest, and then that one comes to the next farmed character.
I think Scarlet Witch is Arena, right?
Yes, she's in Arena 2, yes. I'm currently farming.
Oh, the 6-star and an aim assaulter.
What's that? Oh, okay. So, same.
Your 6-star on your aim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Another rip moment.
Oh, you don't even run aim, do you?
No. Yeah, I do run aim. Yes, I do run aim. I do. I currently run aim. Thanks to Maverick in our alliance, I now run Aimtron.
Yeah, I would recommend you give some love to aim assaulter there. I know it seems silly, right? But if you go to 6R, again, it's a minimal investment for you, right?
Where's he at?
Like you wouldn't even have to up his gear level or anything.
Oh.
Like,
yeah, he'll probably become highly. If I ever finish Colossus, he'll probably become highly. Because I'll have to pick someone from the Heroes campaign to replace Colossus. So this one's definitely could be a high probability after that. Because the other thing is, like, I'm afraid of finishing off all the characters that are Hero and Villains campaign, and then I'm stuck trying to farm. Probably I'll have to go to gear, but it may not be gear that I even need. It could become frustrating.
I think you still got a bit away. Like I still have characters that I can farm in Hero and Villain, right?
Actually, here I got a checklist for you. 1 second. All right, so within the screen now, this is actually my list to keep track of all the characters I have left to farm in this game that are not maxed out. And you can see here in the first row in the green, I got all the ones that are heroes, all the ones here that are in villains, and that's my way to kind of like keep track of where I'm farming from and where they're located. Because now that I'm past the point of needing to farm characters for legendaries, because I have all the legendaries at 7 stars except for Doc Ock, which is why Cable and Negasonic are being farmed.
It's good. You're really well organized.
I try to be. Mumba in our alliance is probably way better than me. You ever seen his spreadsheets? They're crazy.
Yeah, that guy likes numbers. Gamora. Oh, you should 6R her. I'd do it.
Gamora? 6, right? Oh, I'm like processing what you just said, and I was like, oh my, 6? Like, she's already 7. You're talking about red stars? Oh, don't bring your problems on my show.
Well, yeah, I see what you mean about your supernatural. I just wondering. I noticed you have a lot of characters that are like level like 56 there, 58, 55, and I normally, if I'm not gonna put too much resources in a character, I cut them off at level 60 at least. I can 6 for them.
Yeah, so a lot of you know, as being my lines leader for all this time, you kind of know like my goal in this game is clear content, beat content, and as long as I can keep pace with the alliance, then that's kind of my goal. Keep pace with the alliance, clear content, and so a lot of characters will only get love up until the point they finish what they're good for, and then I cut them off cold turkey. And you see that with a lot of characters. Like when I had to beat the Mystics campaign, the Asgardians weren't in the game. Supernatural was in the game before Asgardian, so Ghost Rider, the Supernatural just in general, got love from me to clear the Mystics campaign. But as soon as they cleared the Mystics campaign, what they were valuable to me for was dead in the water at that point. And so that's where you kind of see like the random cutoffs, where because this character has stopped having value to me. I know it's strange to say about something like Supernatural, but that's my thought process how I handle the game.
Supernatural's always been a funny kind of team, right? The content creators were praising them like they were the next applesauce. I guess that didn't make any sense, but anyway, and I find they're basically only good for punch downs and punch acrosses. I have a pretty beefy, I think second biggest in our alliance, and I've watched tons of videos on them, and so it's really hard for me to recommend Supernatural to people, but they're fun, right? And so now they're kind of relegated for taking on non-meta teams.
Ghost Rider, like Supernatural with Ghost Rider is like, if I had more reds on Ghost Rider, I'd probably be more excited about him. But the fact that he's sitting at 3 red and he's probably one of the most important characters of that team, it hurts. And Doctor Strange is squishy. Like I have a problem with Doctor Strange. I don't know if it changes the more you build him up, but he gets one-shotted a lot or double-shotted. I mean, he can't take a hit. The guy folds like origami.
Yeah, you seen his passive?
I've been told about his passive. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've been told it's something with his passive that makes him really great.
Yeah, so every time the enemy puts a buff on themselves, he heals. And if you max it out, then he puts deflects.
Man, maybe I just need a T for it then.
Yeah, that's the thing with Supernatural. I think you need like 5 T4s in them, and it's kind of hard to justify that. But
yeah.
And then I put Fortifier on him. Helps keep him alive.
Yeah. Another thing is it's hard for me to like... So Supernatural's been in the game since 2019, like the end of the year. And so the other thing is like when I look at, okay, I'm finishing up clearing content, time for me to go focus on war. The question becomes, is vesting in something that is 2019 in my best interest?
Well, I think context is everything, right? If you have the red stars to justify it, then again, it's a minimal investment. But yeah in this particular case, you don't, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend to you. Now that I'm looking at your Ghost Rider, I'm going back on what I said. It's like, yeah, I think you're good. Just work on your aim. I'd rather you work on aim.
Yeah. And my Supernatural in war takes care of some smaller teams. So they're good at that, but yeah, they're not good for any punch-ups or anything like that, mainly because I need Doctor Strange to stay alive. He doesn't stay alive, and so I kind of know what it is when I go into it.
I really want to see you work on a Zemo Hydra team. Like, you got a 5R Crossbones, a 6R Winter Soldier.
Yeah, wait till you see Zemo and his red stars.
Oh, God.
All right, so that's good. Next row here.
How do you not have Merc Lieutenant maxed out?
Merc Lieutenant, he just... I don't
know.
know.
Been in the game for so long, and he was usually a good extra to put on teams when they weren't complete.
Yeah, I can't figure this guy out. I can't understand why he's not at 6 already. Like most characters that have been in the game since day 1 have naturally made their way up to at least 6, if not max at this point, through orb and stuff like that. He is so far behind, it's like he never drops out of an orb.
Oh, that happens. Didn't you get who was it? Carnage, I think you never once farmed and you got him the 7-star.
Yeah, so it's like craziness like that, and then they get characters like this one, like it's trash one. No, it's not trash. I should take that back. I didn't mean he was trash, guys.
Yeah.
But I meant like he's just been in the game since day 1, and he for the longest time he was a plug and play character before Taskmaster, and like just for some reason he's the oddball that just doesn't drop from orbs.
The trash oddball.
Yeah, we'll call him that.
Hashtag cancel Mr. Free-to-Play.
Oh,
trash shaming.
I realized what I said after I said trash. I was like, oh no, I gotta take that back. He's not trash.
What's up with the Sif? Holy crap, you really don't like her, eh?
Well, you should look at the next low below. I'm like, oh man, she ain't the only one not getting any love. As Guardians, I'm trying to think how they came along. Like, I built them enough to get me Black Bolt, and I obviously built Hela even further because of future content that I was using her for and challenges I was using her for. And then Thor got some more love just recently because of the Doom War Chapter 3. So I put more into Thor. Loki, I think, naturally had investment into him from start to game. So these two kind of got some what it took to clear Black Bolt and then got forgotten about.
This at least, not that I would recommend this to anybody, but having a lopsided as Guardians on defense could probably create situations where people underestimate or overestimate your teams, right?
Yeah, we run that to ourselves with lopsided Hellas.
I've never seen it this bad though. All right, well, Domino, I can see you're working on her.
Yeah, so now you're starting to see where my X-Force is popping up.
I thought I had the worst Mr. Sinister in the Alliance, dude.
So he gets to stop he gets to stop start treatment. Like he used to be. I think when last time we did his roster review, I believe he was sitting at level 1. And so I started to build him, and then what was happening in the game, I think you remember I used to do Choose My Fate series, right? And what was happening is that every time I gave everyone an option, they always kept picking the biggest meta character, the newest meta character. And what was happening to me was, it was great. It was helping me in arena and stuff like that. But what was happening was my progress to clearing content and getting extra resources on a daily basis was just grinding to a halt. And so it got to the point where I realized, like, okay, I have to stop this because it was fun and I enjoyed doing it, but it was hurting me. And I knew what was going to happen is that eventually my lack of gaining resources was going to end up hurting the Alliance. So, and the benefit of myself, and I knew that it's going to trickle down to the Alliance, I was like, okay, I got to stop this madness and focus on what I need to do to clear content. Now, my idea was to go back and start up Choose My Fate again, finish off, because the last winners were Mr. Sinister and Hand Sentry, because it was like a team up kind of Choose My Fate that I did. They were the winners. And I basically said, okay, I'll clear this content, and then I'll go back, finish Hand Sentry, finish Mr. Sinister, and then I can do Choose My Fate again. But what happened is that by the time I cleared the last of the content, boom, Doom War dropped. And then I was trying to finish up the characters for Dark Dimension 3, and then new challenges dropped, and now Doom War 2 dropped. So it's more characters get added for me to be able to clear that content, keep getting added to my list. So Mr. Sinister is sitting there on my list of characters that I need to build and finish at least to level 71, gear tier 12. It's just a matter of time, and I got an X-Force came along too that I got to put resources into. I think at level 60, I think they're good to go. But if I want to have a good war offense team, then obviously it should invest more than just level 60. So I know the importance of Mr. Sinister, especially with Doom coming out, or you're going to start seeing people get Doom in the upcoming months, probably anywhere from, depending on your arena shard, how long you've been playing, probably 3 to 6 to 9 to a year from now. You're going to start seeing him. Probably a year from now is when you're going to really start seeing him be prevalent in people's arena. So
yeah, and it'd be nice to copy him or clone him.
Yeah, you're going to have to survive. I think Black Order is done for. I think you're going to need a Mr. Sinister to clone a Doom to battle a Doom.
I got a bit tongue-tied when I saw your power armor there.
Oh,
you're gonna work on them now, right? Cyclops.
Time out! You're jumping stories on me here.
I looked at your roster earlier to prepare myself. I guess I was really tired because I would have had an aneurysm if I saw this. Give me a second here. Okay, I get that power armor aren't used to clear any content.
Yes.
Which is why I'm assuming that they're all at the bottom there, right?
Yeah.
That's another team, especially because of those red stars, that I would recommend for you to get to even 200, 250K, right? We do come across, defender teams and silly teams like that on defense, right? And it'd be nice for you to, they're an old meta, but they can punch up against old meta, 100K, 150K, no problem.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah,
yeah.
4R 555, like, yeah, you wouldn't have to put much into them to. You'd probably get them at gear 10 and they'd be good to go. And the
Yeah.
Hydra sniper, well,
Well,
uh, the problem with the Hydra is that you make a 350k Hydra team, it's just going to get knocked out in seconds by an Inhumans team, right? So you
yeah.
basically either build one up to 150k and leave it there. Hopefully, somebody punches it down with Kree and fails, or you got to build up an enormous 600k team, which would be hilarious. But I really don't want you to do that,
Yeah.
or anyone.
I don't think my Red Skull. I'm trying to think. We'll find Red Skull. He's further down.
I have like 115k Red Skull, like Hydra team on my war defense, right? At
Yeah.
least do that, Maddie.
All right. Well,
Why is there no love for Invisible Woman?
Invisible Woman. Okay,
Ah, none of the Fantastic Four.
you're blowing your mic out. Oh, I don't even get a chance to defend myself.
Right. Oh God.
Oh.
Sorry, not laughing at you, Maddie, but wow.
Oh.
How do you do so well in war? You always have like good at, like, I see your damage, I see your attacks, right? But
Yeah.
like, what are you attacking with?
Well, we can look at that later. Probably in part 2 of this video. All right, so let's start with the Invisible Woman here, because she's the one that, quite honestly, I was at one point I thought I was going to message you and say, guess what, Nico? Today's the day Invisible Woman gets built. And the main reason why I said that, let me switch screens here for a second. These are the recommendations for Gear Tier 14. And you can see your Ability Enhancement Challenge. One of the recommendations was for the lowest CP needed was Invisible Woman. And I thought for sure I was going to have to message you and say, okay, today's the day Invisible Woman gets built, because I had 4 of these 5 characters. So I thought for sure that was going to happen, but I ended up actually clearing this, I think, with Venom and Invisible Woman spot, and ended up pulling it off. Obviously at a much higher CP than this. So I ended up pulling it off, and I was like, oh, nope, I can skip Invisible Woman. So that worked out in my favor. But yeah, so that was very close to message you in Discord one day and saying, Nico, today's the day.
You just never really needed her for anything, eh?
No, I mean, she's great character, don't get me wrong, and I would never tell a new player not to build her, because she doesn't need to be on the Fantastic Four to have use. And she can do those challenges that I just showed you guys much easier and at a lower level than other tunes, because of the way she protects the team, and the people that can do the damage can get the damage done without being knocked out. It's just, for me, timing has been everything, and she's always missed the mark on timing, based on the fact that I'm already an active player in the game.
Yeah, I'm also going to suggest you build up some kind of a Fantastic Four team for war.
She-Hulk or
I know
Namor?
it's hard to Namor. And by the way, I love it how you sound like you say Hawk. It makes me laugh every time. But
Hawk. Hawk.
yeah,
Can
the only thing I would say.
I do a funny story real quick? The Hulk thing that I say really fast and it comes out Hawk. So I figured that I would just, the people around me, my relatives and friends, I figured I'd test them and show them a picture of, Hulk, the green guy, and ask and just say, who is this? And I kid you not, they all said Hulk, like I say Hulk. And it's got to be a culture thing with me and my family in this area that I live in the United States. It's got to be a culture thing. Like, to us, we know what we're saying, but to other people, they think we're saying something that is not correct, which they are correct. I'm not saying they're not correct, but it's like, people give me a hard time. Like, it's a culture thing. Trust me. I'm sorry. I try to slow down and say the right thing, but when I'm talking fast, the right thing's not going to come out.
Yeah, I've heard some content creators talk about the rough, and that took me a bit to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think in America, you guys call the roof a rough.
Well, in some areas, I call it a roof. Like, you got, your California content creators like Valley Flying, OMG, Casino, and you got your East Coast guy living in, Amish country, so to speak. So it's just a thing.
All right. So you don't like Cyclops either?
I like X-Men. It's just they've been a timing thing for me. And actually a lot lately I've been eyeing up Beast, But Beast just doesn't have stars. That's the hard thing. Like, I love, if I'm going to make a decision to farm or start building somebody, I love them to have 4 stars. It's the main reason why I'm not in love with the fact that I'm building Call Obsidian right now, because he only has 3 stars, which means I build a team and then I can't even use them in the Red Star Blitz, which usually the Red Star and the Premium Blitz is usually one that I play Blitz a little bit more to try to get more orbs. So having someone who's not at 4 stars hurts me in the Red Star Blitz, especially if I have them built up.
So I'm guessing you don't have a Marauders team on defense.
No, no Marauders team on defense. Yeah, because I use Emma currently for offense. She's actually paired with Phoenix and Colossus right now for offense. Depends on what I'm playing. You know, they can punch up or, you know, clear a meta team. I think Wolverine's thrown on that team just for synergy. You know, he's not built up all that great, and I can't remember who the 5th character is currently, but they can do punch across or punch ups depending on what I'm facing.
Didn't Paulo talk to you about that?
He talked to me. There's a lot of stuff he talked to me about, but the other problem is we run into the thing like there is so much I could do, or that, you know, from the outsiders they feel like I need to do. But the problem is that they all take gold, they all take training mats, you know, they all take gear. So ultimately, they could be like, you know, we've already talked about it, Fantastic Four, Marauders, X-Men. I'm trying to go further up on the list that we were talking about earlier. But just for example, all that takes time, gear, and resources. You know, so I run into the challenge like there's only so much I can invest in a day, especially with me, who I literally look at how much gold I spend to the high roller milestone. And after the last refresh comes into the day, I just go up to the next highest milestone and stop for the day. Now with Emma, I've been maxing out, you know, over 2.4 million every day. So that's usually how I treat every day, to be resource efficient and not waste gold. Because if I spend 100k more than the milestone and don't go to the next milestone, in my head I just wasted 100k gold.
That's true. It's a bit inefficient, but I will say that the fact that your Boomer is stronger than Cyclops, Strife, and all those other guys offends me.
Okay, I get it.
But yeah, I can see like your Taskmaster. I got a G14. I love the guy, right? But yeah, he's basically war defense. So
Yeah.
I can see why you'd neglect it. You have a 5R Mr. Fantastic.
Yes. Oh wait, I have 5R on Namor, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, and a 4 on the Thing. Actually, now that you point out, I didn't even realize they were that good. Yeah, they could probably wreck some stuff.
I realized today I have that on my Wakanda, right? And I'm like, oh, if only it was on a good team. But one thing I did want to say about the Fantastic Four, though, make sure you do your symbiotes first, because BioGear, obviously, I would totally recommend symbiotes over
yeah, there's only one
last year's meta.
Yeah, there's only one symbiote you haven't seen yet, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out which one that is.
Oh, okay, all right. Any plans on building up Wasp with the Pimtech stuff?
It's gonna depend on a lot. So right now the answer is gonna be no, because Wasp and Ant-Man are not good by themselves without the other 3. Their bonuses don't kick in without the other 3. So
yeah,
so it's going to know there. It's also going to determine, are they going to be a quick turnaround farmable team? So if they are needed for the next legendary, which has been rumored for quite some time, then they're going to get a quick turnaround to farmable. And if that's the case, then it's going to depend on when the whales test them in Dark Dimension 3 or 4, probably most likely 4. I probably want to see that results first. How good are they? Because quite frankly, a lot of their greatness comes from the boost they get for Dark Dimension. So it's going to depend on how the whale content creators present this team and how good they are, or talk about them. So it's one of those things where you really got to weaver through the BS of other content creators and figure out, okay, what's important, what's not important. Is this character great solo, great teammate, or are they just, you know, trying to build hype to push views on a video, so to speak?
That's fair. That's probably safe too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
You think about what it would take to get all 5 of the Pimtech people to 14, let alone 15, right?
Yeah, and how squishy are they?
Yeah.
And you get them at 3 stars, they're going to be squishy against those opponents that you face. So it's also going to point, like, are they a whale team or are they free to play friendly? Now, if they're farmable, you can farm more stars on them and try to eliminate that squishiness they have. But if they're not farmable, then they're going to be squishy at 3 or 4 stars. It's just how it's going to be against, those tunes that are at 7, 5 red with boosted stats.
I'll be wailing. All right, break my heart some more. Let's see what else you got.
All right.
Aw.
All right, now we're getting down to the stuff.
Patty.
Where do you want to start?
Brotherhood 1?
I do have Brotherhood.
What?
Yeah, I do have Brotherhood 1 build.
5-hour blob.
That in all fairness, I did just pull him the other day. Actually, that's a funny story. That orb opening video that was just terrible. Like I went through like 80 plus orbs and couldn't get a 4-star stature. But some people did point out in my comment section that I did pull a 5 red and a 5 red Juggernaut and a 5 red blob. And they're like, well, you just boosted your Brotherhood 2.0. And I was like, well, now that you say that, I did. But I don't think in my head, they don't realize that it's not a team that I use every day. So to me, it didn't calculate that I just got a good, decent team at higher red stars.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. Yeah. And now I want to slap you. So that's the thing with the Brotherhood 2.0, that when they first came out and they weren't farmable, I think it was Toad was an event character, and
yes,
Blob was he Blitz?
Blob was a Blitz release, yes.
But so yeah, the majority of the players had the 2-star, 3-star Blob,
yeah,
right, with a 4-star Toad, and I had them both around like 30k ish. Swapped out Sabretooth and Mystique, and even at that small level, they were still doing a lot better than they were before.
Yeah.
Right? So, now that we have the ability to farm these guys, right? I mean, you've seen me in war, right? I love punching up with Brotherhood, but again, I wouldn't suggest you to go all nuts on them, right? But, it wouldn't take much for you to make a 250, 300k Brotherhood team.
Yeah. Okay.
Anti-Venom is on your list, right?
Yeah, Anti-Venom's on my list.
Plans to work on him?
At the current moment, he's kind of a nice to build character on my list of like I have like a must build list, a nice to build list, and and then everyone else just falls like nowhere near on that list. So he's kind of on the nice list right now, and the main reason he's on the nice list is because currently for the content that we're facing, myself and as an alliance, I don't need Anti-Venom to keep pace at the current moment. So say we're on difficulty 3 U7. So let's say we move up to difficulty 4 or 5 and all of a sudden I'm not be able to keep pace. Then it becomes, what do I need to invest in? What becomes a must invest in to keep pace with the alliance? And that's kind of where that trigger for Anti-Venom is going to get turned on and off. And then, and then also we got to run the realization that I'm getting ready to clear all the content in the game, hopefully one last time, and it'll be done with. We do know we have Doom War 3 coming up, and that's probably going to be about the end of it. So he could jump on that list to build because I no longer have must-have builds anymore. I think my last must-have builds right now are Call and Corvus. But as soon as they clear the last 3 nodes of Doom War, Chapter 2, I don't have must builds anymore.
I'm just wondering why you built Scream instead of Anti-Venom, though.
I had Scream unlocked first. I had her unlocked first because you've seen me for all this time that we were together for almost 2 years. Yeah. I how I always hoard the orbs and then open them all at once because 1, I'm superstitious, and then 2, I also do it for content now since I became a YouTuber. So because I hoarded the orbs, I opened Scream's first because her event ended first and had Scream, and I was trying to beat the Gold Rush challenge and I couldn't beat it, so I built up Scream as that replacement character, and then I ended up clearing the Gold Rush challenge before I even had Anti-Venom unlocked. So that's when I turned the button off of Scream because she stopped at level 71, gear tier 12, and the 6664 abilities. I don't know if I have a T4 on her or not, but so I turned it off. The must-have use for her is now done, so I turned that switch off, and now she's anything else that I add on to her at this point would be a nice to do, not a need to do.
It's good that you don't overcommit to any teams. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's always been one of those things, and like I said, my objective, I think I said earlier in this video, was I need to clear content so I can get resources to stay pace with the alliance. And as long as I feel like I'm staying pace with the alliance, then then I need to keep clearing content to make sure that those things always overlap. And that's always my fear, that if I go too much to all these meta teams that, a lot of meta teams when they first come out don't really have a use in the game. I won't say not all of them, but quite a few of them do. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, awesome, they beat this team, they beat that team, only this team can beat them, and you start getting this thing where like everyone wants the newest toy. And I try not to fall in love with the newest toy.
You got anybody else hiding down there that's gonna... Oh, okay.
Just the newest characters. Yeah, all the characters are unlocked except for Dr. Octopus and the newer one. So, and the other thing, so now we're pretty much at the end of my roster here before we kick it over to part 2. The other thing that I have to ask, I'm gonna put this at the end of the video because I'm probably gonna do a separate video on this topic. So, in a month's time, December 9th, it will be 2 years of me playing this game 100% free to play. And a lot of things that I've been struggling dealing with lately is how much longer do I stay 100% free to play? Because at the end of the day, it's like I've beaten all the content as this. So my experience at this point is I've beaten all the content. I've proven that it's possible to play this game as a free to play player. And the experience that I have, I can always apply it and help other players that maybe are forced to go through that experience or are struggling how to manage the resources. I can always teach them, and because I have that experience that other content creators don't. But as a content creator, I lose out on thousands of viewers by not staying up to date with the most newest characters. Like almost every content creator has orb openings of, they just bought offers of stature, so they have an orb opening of stature, and they're able to test them out. And that's a huge audience as a content creator that I am missing. And it's something I've been struggling with a lot lately. And I know some people want me to keep me 100% free to play, but as a content creator, at what point do I feel like I need to grow outside the bubble that I'm currently in? What are your thoughts?
I was actually thinking about this myself for you. With the talks of the battle pass and such, I was wondering how you were gonna keep up, right? I mean, I think I know your progress and such better than most people, right? And we were talking about this earlier about how you've always done really well in the raids and such, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that you could maybe put it to a vote, but it feels like this is gonna have to be like something that you find on your own, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't easy to make that decision to be free to play, and you've done it.
Yeah, so it's one, like I said, I mean, the decision to stop being free to play, I'm definitely going to go up to the 2-year mark. I've made that mind up that I'm at least going to the 2-year mark, which is December 9th, as 100% free to play. But I run into the challenges is, one, do I need to rebrand myself? Because obviously I branded myself as Mr. Free to Play, and if I'm not 100% free to play, then I can see where the confusion starts going in, where people, I already have people that accuse me of not being free to play as is, especially my more popular videos. Yeah. So so I'm afraid of the perception is that they click on me because they see all Mr. Free to Play, and then I tell them I spent for this, whatnot, and they're like, you're not free to play, and then I run into that same argument, but this time it's just based on confusion and no longer. So it's like the struggle also becomes of how do I rebrand myself, as and then where do I go from there? And that may be where I need people's feedback on is, what's their opinions on how I rebrand myself, because I don't think I can go forward if I make that change as Mr. Free to Play.
Can I put a plug in here?
Sure, go ahead.
Alrighty, so if you guys enjoy Mr. Free to Play's content, I have some good news for some of you. We will be looking to recruit somebody for our alliance. So I wish we could take all of you, but it's only one spot, and we got to take the best for the alliance. So if you're over 6 million TCP, check out his Discord, Mr. Free to Play's Discord, and we have an ad posting there, and talk to our recruiter.